The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. We'll be starting at the top of the hour. We're waiting for everybody to join on. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today for our webinar with Projects 360. Projects 360 is an end-to-end management solution for the custom integration industry. And we are specific to this industry. We manage your entire project from the sales process all the way to generating a proposal to creating all the project and the project management, time tracking, scheduling, work orders, inventory management, and then custom reporting also. We have a mobile-friendly device interface that you can view us on any device at any time, anywhere, or any place. A little bit about my background. My name's Doug Greenwald. I am the founder and CEO of Projects 360. I've been in the custom integration industry for 27 years. I still actively own an integration company besides the software company. I built Projects 360 out of a need for myself. You know, I needed a good project management software that was kind of geared towards our industry. So I looked at different platforms out there, but nothing was really completely geared to our specific industry. So I already had the software company. So I had my senior developer build the project management side just for my company. We used it for a year and then decided to bring it to market to share with everybody. And since then, because we do all of our development in-house, we have added a lot of things like the sales CRM, the proposal tool, inventory management, enhanced the project management to the software over the years. The big importance of the software is to help you with your processes. You know, processes are very, very important when it comes to running any kind of business, but especially in our industry. So I had a lot of different processes that I developed over the years, but it needed a way to really manage those processes, and that's where I developed Projects 360. The advantages of processes for you from a business point of view, it allows you to be proactive instead of reactive. It also increases your bottom line, obviously, but the big thing too, it reduces the stress for your team so they can focus on what they need to do out there. So the demo today, we're going to go through the whole kind of workflow process, from the sales to generating a proposal to creating the projects and doing all the management, creating work orders, scheduling, time tracking, invoices, into service, into inventory management, and then we're going to touch on custom reporting that we can do. And then afterwards, we'll do a Q&A, and we'll have a Q&A at the end to answer any questions. And then also at the end too, if there's more that you want to learn about it, I'll have the contact information. You can reach out. We can schedule private go-to-meetings with you and your team also. With that being said, we're going to get into the demonstration, and we're going to start with the sales process because that is where everything begins. So right now I'm on our sales CRM dashboard, and here you can see what's in your overall pipeline. You can see what's been added to your pipeline in the last 30 days, what's been won or lost in the last 30 days, what's been won or lost year to date. You can also see what's in each individual salesperson's pipeline, and that's clickable to go into. When a new lead comes in, you'll go over to people. You'll then go over to the cog here and go to add person. Here's where you'll enter all the client information. If there is a company associated to them, you can select from an existing company or add a new company on the fly. You can assign your salesperson. You can create different sources in the software to track where your business is coming from. You can also create different statuses. You can create different tags. You can also create custom fields. So any additional information that you want to have your team gather, you can do so. After that, you'll hit save and it'll save that person into your database. We have a nice search feature throughout the software that you can search by name, by company, by address. When you then click on the person, it opens what we call the client profile page. Here you'll see all the information that you entered. Over time, you'll be able to see any associated records, so any proposals, any projects, any work orders, and all those are clickable to go into. And you'll also be able to create activities, the salespeople. So the salesperson can create any activity for themselves, or you can create an activity for them. An activity can be anything. It can be a follow-up call, to set an appointment, to do a follow-up email, whatever works for you guys. You can see what's been completed by what's green and what hasn't been by what's tan. You can check things off as you do finish. Also, if a salesperson has an activity or a calendar event due on any given day, they'll get an automated email called the Daily Rundown, which is basically a list of their agenda for that day so things don't fall through the cracks. Over here, you can see any deals associated with this person. And just to clarify, a deal is an opportunity in our software, and you can add a deal right here. Over here, you can see the information that you entered in those custom fields. We do have a notes section, so you can add notes. And when you do add notes, it does stamp the author and the date and time that note was added. When you go inside of a deal, you can see what the estimated deal value is, what your expected close date is, how long that deal's been aging, all the information about the deal. You can also create custom fields related to deals themselves. And we have a separate notes section inside the deal that you can add notes to keep things more organized. And then during the sales process over here, the salespeople can upload any documents they gather during the sales process. But now let's say you've met with the client and you're ready to generate a proposal. Inside the deal here is a create proposal button. If you click on that, it'll bring everything over into our proposal tool. If you do need to edit anything, you can do so by clicking on it. Also, when you're ready, you can grab who's generating this proposal. You can create pricing rules in our proposal. When you go in to add a pricing rule, how it works is you can create whatever kind of as many pricing rules as you'd like. Basically, they consist of either a negative or a positive percentage. So like for instance, in this miscellaneous parts of 3%, I can select that. And then how that 3% is calculated, I can determine either labor, equipment, or both. And I can select that and hit OK, and it'll add that pricing rule to this proposal. And you can have as many pricing rules to a proposal as you wish. After that, you can select the tax rate that applies to this particular proposal. You can also create as many different payment schedules as you wish and select the one that best applies. And how our payment schedules work, they're a percentage of the total, and you can actually progress invoice off that payment schedule once it's approved. After that, you'll go up to the tab called Locations. And in the settings, you're going to set up all the different locations that you use on a regular basis. And then you simply just drag over to the right the ones that apply to this particular proposal and bring over as many as necessary. If you do have a very specific location that really just applies to this proposal and you don't want it in your database, if you go to the blue cog right here, you can add a one-off. You can also drag and drop the order you want the locations to appear on the proposal. Once you're done adding locations, you'll go to the tab called Systems. This is a filtering feature. You can create whatever kind of systems you want. Like you could have an audio video system, control system, televisions, whatever makes the most sense for your business. And again, you can arrange the order you want these in. And I'll cover and get more into detail of what these do in a little bit. After that, you'll go to the tab called Contracts. And in the settings, you can create all different kinds of contracts for the different types of work you do and select the one that best applies. Same thing with scopes of work. You can create different templated scopes of work and select the one that best applies and add it. Once you're done with that, you're going to go over to the cog here and go to Build Proposal. And that'll take you into the proposal builder itself. And now we can add a product a variety of different ways. So first off, you can build a local product database inside the product manager here. And then when you're in the proposal under the search feature, you can actually search that. So maybe I'm looking for a Sony XBR television. You can type in whatever you know. It'll bring back anything that's related to that search. You can then click on the location to expand it, grab the product and drag and drop it to the system, which in this case would be televisions. When you're setting up product, you can add what we call accessories to that product. And in this case, I'm showing that I got a fixed mount and an arm mount to this television. Basically, the accessories are all the little details to remind you of what you need to add that goes with this main product here. So in this case, I need some kind of wall mount. Is it a fixed or is it an arm? I can determine. So let's say I want a fixed in here. I can turn off the arm accessory so it doesn't get added and just hit add. And in this case, it just adds the television and the fixed mount. And you can have as many accessories to a product as you wish. Also, when you're in the settings, you're going to set up all your different labor phases that you do, like pre-wire, trim, final. And then you're going to select the labor phase that applies to this product and how many hours it takes to install. So it brings over the labor phase and labor hours with it also. Another way to bring product in is we're integrated with Portal. So if you go to the cog right here and go to Portal, as long as you have a subscription with them, you can actually search their database. So if I was looking for a Crestron and I knew it was a DM, but that's all I knew, just type in what I know. It'll reach out to Crestron, to Portal's database, bring back everything that's related. I can click on the product. It'll bring over the product image, the manufacturer, the model, the description, and pricing. And you can hit add to queue. And you can see in the background there how it added it to the queue. And I could sit here and add as many items to the queue as I wish. When I'm done, I can just close out of here. And now I can add this product to the proposal. So maybe I want this in the equipment closet under control system. The first time you bring a product over from Portal, you'll get this yellow warning. And what this is telling you is that there's no labor phase or labor hours associated to this product yet. That's not a big deal. Just click on the product and you'll go over to labor like we did before and select the labor phase. Maybe it's final, and then how long it takes to install, and maybe that's an hour. And then if you hit this global button right here, it'll save it locally and it'll be all ready to use for the next person. So it's a nice, easy way to build your local database up. And then finally, we can actually build packages too. So if you have like your favorite surround sound system or favorite conference room that you like to sell a lot, you can build that here. And then in this case, the surround system, I can just grab it, drag and drop it to the location and system I want it in. It brings everything that I've added to that package all the way into the proposal. So basically everything I need to build this surround sound system. So I built it that quick. If I didn't need one of these items, it's not a big deal. I can just remove it from this proposal. Also, another feature we have is called cloning. So let's say these Sonance BP82s I need in multiple locations. I can just go to the cog here and go to clone, and I can select the system, which is audio video, and then I can select the other locations I need them in and add them, and now I just clone those to the other locations. So it's a nice little shortcut and easy way to build your proposal quickly and accurately. But now let's say I'm done building it and I want to generate the final proposal for the customer. I just go to the cog right here and go to generate proposal. I can filter the proposal by category, by location, by manufacturer, or by system. Also, we have a bunch of advanced options, like do I want to show product images? Do I want to show line item pricing? Do I want to break labor out by phase? I can select my different options and to get the proposal to look the way I want. Then over here are those systems that we talked about earlier. Like I mentioned, this is a filtering feature. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to create a proposal for the customer, just showing the items that are under control system. I can turn off audio, video, and televisions, or any kind of combination of those. You can also create your own color scheme to match your brand. You can upload as many different cover images as you'd like and select the cover image that best applies. And then you can either download a printable version, or we do have an email feature in the software. You can email a link to the customer. When you click on that, when the customer clicks on that link, it opens the proposal for them, has the color scheme that you selected, all the client information, the cover image you selected, your company logo and information, the scope of work we selected. And in this case, I decided to break everything out by location with product images and line item pricing. So I have all that here. Here are those speakers I cloned. I broke labor out by phase. Here's that pricing rule for miscellaneous parts I created, and it calculated it for me. Here's the total. Here's the payment schedule I selected, and it did all the math for me. Here's the contract. And then down below here, the client's got two options. They can request revisions where a box will pop up and they can type in any changes they want. Or if everything looks good, they can do an electronic signature in the signature box and hit approved. It'll send you a notification, but then also in the software, in the proposal under revisions, you can see the date and time it was approved. So now that that proposal was approved, we can actually create a project because it's a real thing. So right here from the proposal, I just need to go to the cog right here and go to create project. It'll then pull all that information over into the project management side of the software. If I do need to edit anything, I can do so right from here. If not, I can select who my project manager is going to be. I can also select the status. Is it something that's going on this week? Is it a couple weeks out? Is it in progress? Is it delayed? And you can custom name those statuses whatever you wish. Another feature we have are called categories. This is a filtering feature, so you can create whatever kind of categories you want, like builders you work with, developments you're working on, businesses that you're working with, whatever makes the most sense for you. You can then hit save. It'll send a notification to that project manager that a new project was created, and it's going to ask you to push the proposal over along with the labor phase and labor hours, and it creates what we call a project details page, which basically this is the dashboard for the life of this project. And I'm going to walk you through all this. So first off, think of a project not as a client, but as a location. There's a client associated to a project, but if you looked at a flow chart for our industry, how it would look is that you would have the client on top, and then underneath the client, they could have multiple projects going on. There could be multiple homes that they own. It could be a business with multiple locations. And that's exactly how our software is designed also. You can associate as many proposals to a project as necessary. So in this example, I'm showing the main proposal and change orders underneath it. From here, this view, your project managers and technicians can click to open the proposal, and then they can choose how they want to view the proposal. And it pulls all the proposal in except for pricing. It doesn't pull pricing in. And then they can filter the proposal by location, by phase, by brand, by model number, and by system. And then also, right from here, your project managers are the ones that know when they need to have things either ordered or allocated for this project. So right from here, they can highlight any product they need ordered or allocated, and they could go to the cog right here and go to add the product request. It'll then update the status to requested. And then in our inventory system, we have a product request page that your inventory manager works out of, and it sorts everything that's needed to be either ordered or allocated by project. And we're going to cover that a little later. Also, when you push that proposal over, it pushed all the labor phases and labor hours into our time tracking module. So you can actually track time against what was bid versus actual. That's the hard thing we need to keep track of, are we bidding these jobs accurately? And this is a live view. So if something goes over budget, it turns red instantly. And you can click on it and go into the details and see maybe why that labor phase is going over budget. Over here, you can see all the work orders that have ever been created for the life of this project. And we have two types of work orders that you can filter by. We have project work orders, which are the work orders created during the build of the project. And then we have service work orders, which are the service calls after the fact. You can click and open any one of these work orders right from here to see the details. And we'll get more into work orders in a little bit because they do a lot. Another cool feature we have in our software is called checklists. You can create any kind of custom checklist you want. Like you can have a pre-wire checklist, a trim checklist, an overall jobs in progress checklist. And this is, again, how we're going to help keep your processes balanced. When you click and expand, you can see what's been completed on the checklist and what hasn't been. And people can check things off as they do finish. And it does stamp who checked it off and when for accountability. And then also updates the percentage of completion of that checklist. Another cool feature we have are called discussions. So you can create a discussion about this project right from the project. So to create a new discussion, just hit the plus symbol. You can give it a title, you can describe it, and then you can select who needs to partake in that discussion. They'll all get a notification with a link to discussion. When they click on the link, it opens the discussion, and they can reply to it right from here. And it creates a nice threaded conversation and stamps who replied and when, so you have a record of it. So instead of a bunch of random emails and text messages scattered everywhere, you have nice threaded conversations about this project inside the project for your records. Over here, you can create one-off tasks. So the majority of your tasks for your technicians and everything are going to be done inside of work orders. And we're going to be covering that in a little bit. But there's always a need to create a one-off task. An example of that might be to create a task for your office manager to invoice for the deposit. When you create a task in our system, you'll give it a title, you'll assign it, you'll describe it, you'll give it a due date. They'll get a notification that a new task was created for them. And then also in our software, if you want to set your notifications up that you get notified anytime the status changes of one of your tasks, you can be notified. So you can get notified when it's completed. Over here is our cloud storage, so you can upload any documents related to this project. So floor plans or engineering, pre-wire photos, system programs. You can create folders to keep everything nicely organized, but anything that's related to this project lives right inside the project. Over here, you can see any invoices that have ever been created for this project. And there's two types of invoices in the system. There's those progress invoices that we talked about from the payment schedule, from the proposal. And then I'm going to show you in a little bit how you can create a service invoice from a service work order. Over here, we're tied to Google Maps, so you can see where the project is. As this project ages and goes into service mode, you can create service repair tickets right here, so you have a record of any product that's ever gone in for repair for the life of this project. We have a general notes section for notes. Any open purchase orders related to this project will show up here. And then another cool feature, if you go to the cog here and go to forms, is we allow you to create whatever kind of custom form you want. For instance, you could have a network form that houses all the client's network information, their SSID, their different access points. You could create a system design form that when you click on the processor, you can see what's in the different COM ports, the different relays, maybe how the audio distribution's laid out, how the video distribution's laid out. Whatever you want, you can create as many different custom forms in our custom form section in the settings. And then when you're creating the project, you can choose from your library which forms and which checklists that you created are relevant to this project. Then if you're using our inventory system and go to the cog right here, you can go to installed products. And this generates a live report of any product that you've ever installed on this project. and it shows you how that product was delivered, either via work order or invoice, the quantity, the product itself, the cost you have set up for that product, the serial number if it's a serial track device, and then who installed it and when. So it's great for your records, especially for RMAs. Going into work orders. So we created a nice work order dashboard for your project managers to make their life a lot easier. So from this one location, your project managers can create a work order for any project and any employee. And then they can filter the work orders by the different statuses work orders have, which is not scheduled, scheduled, in progress, completed, invoiced, or canceled. When you go inside of a work order, you can see what type it is. Is it a project or service work order? You can put a title to a work order. You can add hours to a work order because we have a clock in button right here for your technicians. When your technicians hit the clock in button, it already knows the project and the work order they're on. All they got to do is grab the phase they're working on and hit start time. And now they're tracking time against the project, the work order, and the phase, and you have a live running clock right here. Over here, we can see who's all scheduled for this work order and for when. And you can schedule as many people to a work order and a work order for as many days as you wish. There is no limitation like there are in some platforms. But we'll get more into scheduling in a little bit. But now to add the tasks of what the technicians need to do, we can do that a variety of ways to the work order. So if we go to the blue cog right here and go to add work order line item. The first option is if there was a proposal involved, you can go and find the proposal. It'll pull the proposal up in front of you by location. You can then check the box next to the items that you want to add to the work order and hit add to work order. And it brings in the product along with the location so the technicians know where the work needs to be done and the labor phase and labor hours that were in the proposal for accurate time tracking. Another option is if this was a service work order and you want to search your product database, you can actually search your product database and select the product, and it'll show you an image and description to make sure you're grabbing the right product. And then also you can put a labor phase and how long you think this should take to install to keep the people on point. And it brings over the product along with that labor phase and hours that you selected. Another option is, remember those custom checklists? You can actually search your checklist library and bring one of them in. Or if this was a service call and you just need to type in what they need to do, just go to general item and you can just type in what the technician needs to do. And then you can actually even select the labor phase if you wish. And even again, put how many hours, how long you think this task should take them, and add that to the work order, and adds that line item to the work order. And then if you're using our inventory system, you can associate transfers to a work order and populate the transfer inside the work order, or you can bring things in from your various warehouses. So lots of different options there. Once you're done adding the line items to the work order, they have a list of tasks they need to do. You can actually even add notes by line items. So if there's some special instructions, or if the technicians were having an issue, they could add a note there, and it shows that there's a note to that line item. And if the technicians were having an issue, they could even take a photo of what's going on and upload that, because we allow attachments by line item, and it will show that there's an attachment to that line item. As the technicians finish the tasks on here, they'll check them off as completed, so you know what's been completed and what hasn't been. And just like the other checklists, it'll stamp who checked it off and when for accountability. If this was a service work order and something needed to go in for repair, you can create a service repair ticket right from the work order here. Just go to the cog here and go to add repair item. You can put in the RMA number, the tracking number, the date you're shipping it out, and then you can set a reminder for one of these time frames that if you don't get it back, it'll send you a notification to follow up with the manufacturer so things don't fall through the cracks. To clock out of a work order, just simply hit the clock out button and hit stop time, and that'll clock you out of the work order. Also on our work orders, you can get electronic signatures. So if you want the technicians to get builders to sign off on things or something, you can do that. If this was a service work order and you wanted to create an invoice for that service call, you can do so right here from the work order. Just simply go to the blue cog here and go to create new invoice. It'll pull all the client information over into our invoicing tool, and it'll have your company logo and information here. And then there's a little clock right here. If you click on that, it'll show you all the unbilled hours for that work order. All you got to do is check the box and hit OK, and it brings that labor into the invoice. And it knows for final labor, you charge $85 an hour because that's how you set it up in the settings, and it did all the math for you, so you don't have to calculate it. Then if you need to add other items to this invoice, just go to the cog here and go to add line item to invoice. First option is from that work order. So you can bring in various line items from that work order. And then when you do bring them over, it brings over the pricing along with labor, so you don't have to calculate that. Another option is you can bring things in from your product database. You could manually type a product in or labor in. Or if you're doing inventory, you can bring things in from your various warehouses. So again, lots of different options there. You can then select the tax rate that applies. And then you can actually get an electronic signature also. And then we're integrated with QuickBooks, both online and desktop, and you can push this over and receive payment just like you normally do. Going into scheduling, when we go into our calendar here, you can see a list of all your employees on top, and you can click on any one of them to see what their utilization is for the week. Also, we have off to the left here all the unscheduled service and all the unscheduled project work orders, so you don't forget about them. You can view the calendar by month, by week, by day, or by list. Also, if you go to the cog here and you want to filter your calendar and just see your calendar for your service calls, you can just see your service calendar and it'll just show you the service calendar and the unscheduled service work orders. And then same thing for production under project work, calendar. And it just shows you the project calendar. To schedule one of these unscheduled work orders, just simply grab it, drag and drop it to the day and time you want it to start. It loads that day and time in for you automatically. You can color code things, so you can select a color code if you wish. You can schedule individuals, or in our settings, we allow you to create teams if you guys work in teams. Once you're done, you can close out of here and it'll load that event into the calendar. Once the event's loaded into the calendar, if you do need to edit it, you can drag and drop it longer. You can drag and drop it to different days, and it automatically updates for you. And then we also even have some more advanced filtering if you go to filter by, where you can filter by employee and by project and by date. So again, lots of different options there. Going into time tracking. So we talked about time tracking against a work order. But as you know, we don't always have a work order involved. So we have this enter time section right here, where you can just grab the project you're working on and the phase you're working on and hit start time. And now you're tracking time against the project and the phase. And then also we have this currently clocked in view where you can see a list of all your employees that are currently clocked in, the project they're clocked into, the phase, the date and time they clocked in, and a live running clock right here. And if you do need to clock them out, you can do so right from here. For service, you can filter your service projects by what are in and out of warranty here. And then going into inventory, so if you go to warehouses, we allow you to create as many different warehouses as you wish. So in this example, I'm showing a main warehouse and then each vehicle as a warehouse. When you click to go into a warehouse, it generates a live dashboard of that warehouse. And on this live dashboard, it tells you the total number of products in that warehouse. When you're setting up product, you can set a minimum and a maximum of what you want on hand, and also a warning of when you want to be notified to reorder. So here we're seeing the products that are in warning or low stock mode, so you don't forget about them and reorder more. You'll see the cost value and the retail value of that warehouse. You'll see the last time you did a cycle count and if there was an adjustment on that cycle count. You can see any incoming and outgoing transfers. Then down here are all your open purchase orders, and you can filter them by draft, what's been sent to the supplier, what's been partially shipped, what's been shipped, and what's been received. And then remember earlier when we were in the project and the project manager was sending product that they needed ordered or allocated to the product request page? Well, here is that product request page. And like I mentioned, it sorts everything that's needed to be ordered or allocated by project here. And if you want to see a specific project, just use the search feature. Just type in the project name and it'll just show that. It shows you the product. It shows you what, if anything, you have on hand of that product, what's been requested, if it's been sent to the PO queue to get ordered, if it has been ordered, and then if it's been allocated and what's still needed for this project. So like in the case of the Sony television, I have 6 on hand and I only need 1. So nothing needs to be ordered. I just need to allocate one of the 6 I have to this particular project. To do so, just click on the product, go to allocation, and because this is a serial track device, all 6 serial numbers are shown here. I can select which one I want, and I can allocate it. It then updates. So now this Sony television, the on hand was reduced from 6 to 5, even though you physically have 6. What we're doing here is virtually staging everything for this project. And then it's showing I have 1 of 1 for this project, and put a little checkbox here going, I'm good to go on this line item. I have what I need. In the scenario that you don't have what you need and it needs to be ordered, you just highlight it, go to the cog here, and you have a couple options. You can send it over to the PO queue, which our PO queue is just a big depository of all the product that needs to have POs created for it. So you can create one big master Crest Run PO or one big master Integra PO. You can create a purchase order for this individual product right from here or add it to an existing PO. So lots of different options. So basically, your project manager is going to want to see checkboxes for this project all right here about a week before it's due to go out. And then the morning when it's due to go out, they're going to go to the fulfill request right here, which is basically creating a transfer. And it's going to create a transfer for all this product to the vehicle warehouse that's taking it out. The technician that's in charge of that vehicle warehouse will see an incoming transfer on their dashboard. They'll click and open it. It'll have all this product listed along with quantities and serial numbers to make sure they have everything. They'll accept it. And then if you remember, in our work orders, you can associate a transfer to that. So if you associated that transfer to that work order, go back in that work order and it will auto-populate all this product in that work order along with locations so the technicians know where it needs to be installed. And then when they check it off from the work order, it delivers it from the vehicle warehouse to the client. But another scenario that also happens in our industry is, let's say this project got delayed. And let's say I didn't have any more Sony televisions, but I need it for another job. I can go in here and I can deallocate it. So I can go back in here and deallocate it from this project. And when I close out of here now, that Sony television updated back to 6 on hand. And it updated that I now still need one for this project so I don't forget, but I can go to another project and allocate it to that. You can see, you can click on hand products and see all the product you have on hand across all your warehouses. And by line item, it shows which warehouses that's in and where in those warehouses. You can see all the product you've ever installed on this page and use the search feature to narrow it down. And then we do have a product aging report to make sure you're cycling your old inventory, that you can go and select the date. So maybe I want to see everything that's come in before January 1, and it'll calculate it and show you everything that's come in before January 1. And then finally, we have a really nice reporting system. So if you go to custom reporting and go to report builder, you can build a report for any section of the software. When you select the section, you can then go and select the fields you want to see in this report. So you can select what's important to you. And then down below here are all the filters. So depending on what kind of report you're trying to build, you'll select the filters accordingly. And then after that, you're going to hit Get Report. It'll generate the report for you. The report is exportable to CSV or Excel, and you can save it to your saved report so you don't have to rebuild it. And you can do the same thing with charts. We have a bunch of different kinds of charts you can build. You can apply the filters, and you can hit draw chart, and it'll draw the chart for you. And that is a 30,000 foot view of the software. So we can now open it up to questions again. And to do questions in the GoToMeeting, there's a place where you can select question and it'll notify us and you can type in your question. And Amy, who's with me, is going to be reading your questions and together we're going to answer them. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Amy. Are there any questions from anybody?
Yes, if you to start off with, does our product sync with T-Sheets? We currently do not, just with QuickBooks.
Yeah, so we have our own time tracking feature in our software, so we don't sync with T-Sheets. You can use our time tracking for your payroll. I do that for my own integration company. So no, we don't have an integration with T-Sheets because we handle it ourselves in our software.
And do we offer a mobile app?
Yes, we do. We have a mobile app for both Apple and Android for the technicians to access, anything basically, work orders, the schedule, time tracking, all that good stuff. And we do have an updated version of the app coming out here in the very near future. We're beta testing it now, and the new features are going to have some shortcuts, but the big one is it's going to have offline time tracking also.
Somebody asked a question on just change orders.
Yes, we can do change orders. I can actually show you how change orders are done here. So change orders are child proposals of the parent proposal. So if you want to go create a change order, go back into the proposal here and you'll go to the proposal builder. And let's say in this case, I need to change out that Sony television. It was too big. I need to go to a smaller one. Go here to the cog, and right over here is a little toolbox that says change order. Click on it. If there were change orders already related to this main proposal, they would be listed here because you could add it to an existing one, but I don't have one, so I'm going to create a new one. We give you a generic title, which is CO and the date, change order and the date, and the main proposal title, but you can edit that to whatever you need to. You can also put in a description of what this change order is for. You can then hit OK, and it'll ask you, do you want to open the change order or do you need to return back to the main proposal to maybe add some more items? In this case, I'm just going to say open the change order. And as you can see now, we're in the change order. And it works just like a regular proposal because it's just a child proposal of the main one. So if I go back into that family room, I can see that Sony television I put in here. I'm going to change the quantity to a negative because I want to remove it. And then I can find the new Sony television. So search for that, select it, bring it over, and I can add that. And I could sit there and add as many items as I want to this change order. When I'm done, I can go to generate the proposal, which is generating the proposal for the client to see, which is their change order. And basically it says the change order name and it just has the items in the change order. Any other questions, Amy?
Next one, does our software show any financial overviews?
We don't do accounting, so we show financial overviews like in the proposal. When you go to the main proposal, we have a calculated total here where you can see your overall margin for product, your margin for labor, and the overall margin right here. And then we do track, if you recall, inside the project itself, the big thing that we're looking at is labor, and we track labor hours. We don't track dollars, we track hours to it, where you can see if you're on budget on labor wise. What we do have coming out later this year is an overall, because inventory was relatively new to us. Now that we have inventory and POs and everything, we are going to have a project health report where we're going to enter a bill section in here where we can track bills too and see what your income versus your bills are per project. So have an overall project health report.
How do we handle monthly and annual service agreements and being able to apply time to them?
So you would, in the project here, this is a live project, you can put into the title of the project what kind of service agreement they have. But, you know, in my company, we use basically have essential, we have priority and proactive, and that determines what they get. Like in our priority, they get 2 annual visits. You can schedule those annual visits in advance through work orders. And then also, by knowing it's a priority client, you know what their hourly rate is. So you will bill them at that hourly rate then. And we do have an enhancement coming out next year where we are going to create a client portal and kind of create a ticketing system where we're going to, get more in depth on managing service agreements and everything.
Do we have any Gantt charts for PM duties?
Not Gantt charts at this time, no. Just the schedule. You can create checklists and everything for the project managers if you wish, but we don't have a separate Gantt chart for them.
Seems to be all the questions.
We can give them a couple minutes. Also, if you do want to learn more about ProjX360 and schedule maybe a private demo or Q&A with myself, I'll be more than happy to meet with you and your team via a GoToMeeting, just a private one with you guys. You can reach me at doug@projX360.com, or you can call us at our 800 number, which is 844-688-5584, right here on the screen. Before we do wrap it up, any other questions that have come up, Amy?
Yes, they want to know if pricing on it, and are we a part of any buying groups?
So we are a part of ProSource. So we are part of ProSource for the buying group, and ProSource members do get special pricing. And then if you go to our website, which is ProjX, ProjX360.com, and go to pricing here, we have a little pricing calculator that you can use. So how our software is designed is the core of the software is the project management piece, which does all the time tracking, scheduling, work orders, all that kind of good stuff. Everybody needs this login. The add-ons are the sales, CRM, and proposal tool, which the people that really just need those are more sales and owners that just need those. And then inventory is just one license per company. Either you do it or you don't. So if we go to get pricing right here, and we can just run through an example. Let's say you have 10 people in your company. So we're going to put 10 employees. And out of those 10, 2 of them are in sales, maybe the owner and somebody else. And then 2 people are generating proposals. So we'll put 2. And then I want to do inventory. And then we are running a promo right now. So in the key section here, if you put in PJX 400 and go get pricing, here's how it breaks out. We normally have a one-time setup fee of $1,995, but we do discount it $400 with that promo code. So it brings it to $1,595. And then the monthly breaks out as follows. The 10 logins are $24 each. The 2 CRMs are $24 each. The 2 proposals are $49 each, and inventory is $189. So you have a one-time setup of $1,595 and $575 a month. And then if you do prepay for a year, because we do have a year contract, and if you pay up front, you get another 10% off. And then we have a full 30-day money back guarantee that if you do sign up and it doesn't work out for you, you get a full refund of everything. But all in this pricing includes very heavy, all our support. So we don't charge extra for support. And we have a very in-depth onboarding process where we do one-on-one go-to-meetings like this with you and your team and walk you through every section of the software and best practices. Any other questions, Amy?
Yeah, they want to see the proposals and how flexible it is to customize the aesthetics of it.
So the proposal looks like this. If you have your color code, which is the color codes on this are customizable. Um, your cover image is customizable. You can't move around the layout. So the colors would adjust on here on the location breakouts. And then you can choose if you want to break like labor out or have all labor together. So you can choose how much you show in the project summary. You can choose if you show a payment schedule. You can choose if you have a contract or a scope of work. So basically when you're going in that proposal from there, so go back to generate too. So we go to generate the proposal for the customer. You can select how you want to filter it. Do you want to filter it by category? Do you want to filter it by location? Do you want to filter it by manufacturer or by system? And then there's a bunch of advanced options here, like do you want to show product images? Do you want to show line item pricing? Do you want to break labor out? Do you want to show install price? Whatever you want, you can play with these settings. And then also, if you recall, we have these systems that you can filter by. Like if you wanted to show the customer a proposal with the items under control system, you could turn off audio, video, and televisions, or any kind of combo of that. And then you can also, like I mentioned, customize the color scheme, and you can upload as many different cover images. So that's the amount of customization you can do. Any other questions?
They'd ask about expense management.
We don't have an expense piece. Actually, we're going to be doing later this year some proposal enhancements, and the expense part is going to be part of that. That's actually on our roadmap. So I don't know if I mentioned too, we have 4 full-time developers that are constantly working on the software. So we're always adding things. And then even on our website, we have our roadmap for the next couple of years of things that'll be coming. Anything else?
Last question was somebody wanted to see that sample copy of the proposal.
They want to see it again?
Yep.
Yep. So here it is. So we got the color scheme. This would be your logo, the client information, the cover image. This would be your company logo and information, a scope of work if you chose one. In this case, I broke it out by location with product images and line item pricing. The proposal summary has the equipment total. I broke labor out by phase. Here's my pricing rule I created, which is the miscellaneous parts, the grand total, and then the payment schedule that I selected, and it did all the math, the contract, and then where the client can either request revisions or do an electronic signature.
And that's part of some of the questions too with that approval. Can this be sent to the client when they open? Can we see on our end that it's approved?
Yes, so in our notification systems, when they click on the link to open it, you'll get a notification that it was opened, but then also when they sign and approve it, you'll get a notification also for that, as long as you have them set up in our notification system.
Last question, where can they pay?
So to sign up for, where the client can pay, we
Correct.
do not do we do not do merchant processing. So that would be in QuickBooks. You'll still, you can create a progress invoice from our system and push it over into QuickBooks, but they're still going to receive payment into QuickBooks. We're not wanting to become an accounting platform. Any other questions or?
That was the last one.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their busy schedules today to join us. And again, like I mentioned, if you do want to learn more and set up maybe a private demo with you and your team, reach out to me right here, Doug at ProjX360.com, or call us at our 800 number. You can visit our website too. We have a bunch of videos on there. But I really want to thank you and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.